back to move on to the next portion of solving the cube. Remember before that we had put the corner pieces in the proper position on the cube, although they're not turned properly to match all the colors. That's what we're going to do now. During this portion, what we're generally going to look for, or what I look for and what helps me do this, is I look for patterns of orange on the top of the cube. Basically, there's only two patterns that you need to be concerned with. It'll take you doing this move a few times to get to the pattern that you want, that I'm going to explain to you. But once you start doing it and you start recognizing more patterns, you'll know where to do the move when you turn it, what side to start at in relation to the pattern that's on top. So my goal right now is to do this move that I'm going to teach you to where there's all orange on top, and the only thing that's not solved is that the edges of the orange are not in proper alignment with the color that they are supposed to be. Basically one step before solving the cube. So the move we're going to do is going to put all orange on top, and then the next move in the next video will fix these edge pieces so that all the corners line up and the cube is solved. So right now I'm looking at a pattern on top. I know what this pattern is. I call it, ironically, I call it the double fish, because there's a pattern that looks like a fish later on. If I covered that orange up, kind of looks like a fish. That's what I call it. I look for the fish. But on the double fish, I know where to start. I always start right here with the orange piece on the side. I look at the double fish, and here's the orange that I want to begin this move on. This move is fairly simple. I'm going to do it slow. It's fairly simple, but again, once you practice it and you do it, you'll be able to do it without even thinking about it. So I'm going to do the move. It's going to be up on the right, over on the top, down on the right, over on the top, up on the right, top goes back twice, and then you move that right down to put everything back into position. I know it seems kind of confusing, so I'm going to do it again. It's going to be up on the right, over on the top, down on the right, over on the top, up on the right, come back twice on the top to bring that piece back, and then one down on the right. So I'm going to do it again. It's going to be up on the right, over on the top, down on the right, over on the top, up on the right, bring the top back twice, and then down on the right. So what that does is that switches these corner pieces around, and it'll eventually, by doing that move over and over and over, it will get orange all the way on the face. Now, as you do this more and more, you'll recognize certain patterns on the top that the orange makes. There's only a certain number of patterns that it can make. This pattern here, for example, I call the arms and legs pattern, because if you look at the cube like this, down here are what I would call legs that the orange stickers are making, and up here the oranges are sticking out right here, so it'd be like arms and legs. I know after doing this so many times that if I do that move I just showed you up here at the right shoulder, if that's where I started, then I'm going to get to where I want to get to sooner than just sitting here and randomly picking a spot to do that move on. So I've got my legs, I've got my arms, I'm going to turn the cube to this upper right shoulder. I'm going to do that move that I just showed you. Up on the right, over on the top, down on the right, over on the top, up on the right, bring the top back twice, and then bring the right back down. What that gives me is the fish pattern. I call this fish pattern because to me it looks like a fish. Here's the main part of the fish and here's the tail. I know that once I see this fish pattern and that there is an orange sticker right here, notice the fish is kind of swimming down this way. I know that once I do this fish pattern and that there's an orange sticker right here, I know that the next time I do that move, I'm going to solve that orange face to where all the corner pieces are turned properly. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. But before I do, there's also another fish that looks just like this one, but there's no orange sticker here. It's a different color. If you've got that fish, you start in the same position that we're going to start in now, and it will give you the fish with this sticker here. So you're only 2 moves of doing that same move from solving that top face. So I'm going to go ahead, and I've done that move enough, and you're not going to recognize patterns right off the bat. It'll take you a while to do it, but once you do it a few times, well, probably a little bit more than a few, but once you do it enough, you'll start to recognize where you start that move on the side of the cube, whether I start it here, I start it here, or I start it here. You'll start to figure out where to start it to make it the shortest amount of moves that you need to do to get it to the point where you have the fish with the orange sticker right here. So I'm going to go ahead and do the move. Up on the right, over on the top, down on the right, over on the top, up on the right, bring the top 2 back, and boom. Now we've got all the oranges on top. Now if you actually look at the cube, you're going to notice that if I turn it and line up the colors, that the only thing that I need to fix before this cube is solved is my orange edge pieces, because they are not in the proper positions that need to be. But my corners are. My corners are all correct, but my edge pieces aren't. The next video I'm going to show you how to fix this. It's a fairly simple move. Be able to knock it out and solve the cube. So just for a quick reference, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that move that we've been doing, so you can kind of maybe see a couple different patterns. Up, over, down, over, up, bring it back twice, down. Now here's an example of I've got the fish, but I don't have the orange sticker here. So I'm going to do that move again. It's the same move since the beginning of the video. We just keep on doing it. So I'm going to do the move again. Up, over, down, over, up, bring it back twice, down. And remember what I told you, once you see that fish without the sticker here, you do that move, it's going to give you the fish with the sticker here. You do the move again. Up, over, down, over, up, bring it back, bring it down, and it solves that orange face. Again, if we orientate our cube to the colors, you'll notice that all the corners are solved. We've got orange all on top, and the only thing that needs to be fixed before this cube is solved are these edge pieces. Hopefully that made sense. If you need to watch the video a couple more times to understand what I'm doing, go ahead and do it. But once you get that move down and you start to maybe recognize some patterns up here, I think it'll make a lot more sense to you, and will make it a lot easier for you to solve the cube. So with that, we'll go on to the final step in the next video, where we will fix these edges and we'll have the cube solved.